Hello everyone, welcome back to online lecture series on engineering thermodynamics. We are continuing our topic of refrigeration cycles. So first we will do quick revision of our previous topics. Our first topic was simple vapor compression cycle VCR. Here this is our fundamental refrigeration cycle and it contains total of 5 components, out of which 4 are major components, and we will discuss them one by one. That here first we are having compressor, then condenser, then receiver, then expansion device and evaporator. Unlike our regular cycles which were working in clockwise direction, this cycle works in anti-clockwise direction. So during the compression process, the low pressure and low temperature vapor refrigerant is compressed to high pressure and high temperature vapor refrigerant. After that, this high pressure high temperature refrigerant is passing through this condenser where it is losing its heat. So here it will be high pressure, the pressure remains high at the exit of condenser, but the temperature reduces, so low temperature is there, and during the condenser the phase of refrigerant changes, that is from vapor it becomes liquid, that is shown over here also. Then it passes through the receiver, then into expansion device where its pressure is being reduced. So now previously before expansion it was high pressure refrigerant, and after expansion device it is a low pressure low temperature liquid refrigerant. After this expansion device it passes through the evaporator where its evaporation is happening, that is phase change is happening from liquid to vapor, and the energy which is required for this evaporation is taken from the water which is to be cooled in our example. So here in this way it is functioning. Then we discussed about each components one by one, that has already been explained. The only thing is the task of receiver is here is that the condensed liquid refrigerant from condenser is stored in the vessel known as receiver, from where it is supplied to the evaporator through expansion valve or refrigerant control valve. Next was the TS diagram for simple vapor compression cycle, that is shown over here. So first process is isentropic compression by compressor to condenser pressure, that is over here. This isentropic compressor meaning is that the entropy is remaining constant over here. And its pressure is increasing and temperature is also increasing. The next process is 2 to 3, that is isobaric heat rejection in condenser. The meaning of isobaric here is constant pressure, so the heat rejection is happening at constant pressure. Now here the phase change is happening as well as the temperature is getting reduced. So at the entry of condenser it was vapor, and now after condensation it becomes liquid. The pressure remains high and temperature reduces. The entire process is happening at constant pressure. Then we have adiabatic expansion through expansion valve, where there is a decrease in pressure, decrease in temperature, and the entropy here increases. After that, the next process is isothermal heat absorption in evaporator. So here the process here is isothermal as well as isobaric, and this is the pH diagram for the same. So in pH diagram, as we can see, all four processes are shown. That process 1 to 2, in which pressure is increasing and enthalpy is also increasing. During condensation process, where heat is being lost, here the enthalpy is reducing. This process is at constant pressure. The next is adiabatic expansion, during which the enthalpy is remaining constant, H3 is equal to H4. And then the last process is evaporation process, in which the pressure is remaining constant and enthalpy is increasing. So these are four processes in the four components of VCR system. Now the next topic was analysis of simple cycle. Here in this cycle, for refrigerants we will have separate refrigeration tables from where we can get all these values, and these are the entropy values and enthalpy values at four different points in the cycle. And here there are two important features, that during process 1 to 2, entropy is remaining constant, and during process 3 to 4 enthalpy is remaining constant. So we can utilize this feature in which S1 is equal to S2. So here we can obtain in this way, and H3 is equal to H2, so that we can get the dryness fraction at 0.4. The next is compressor work and refrigeration effect, so we can obtain the value of COP here. And this is another case that we have taken, where the compression is happening in superheated region only. And these are the corresponding values of enthalpy and entropy at point number 2. Now these are the factors affecting the performance of simple VCR cycle. Here first is effect of suction pressure. Here the suction pressure is reduced, so it can be seen that refrigeration effect is decreasing, and here compressor work is increasing, and there will be increase in suction volume, specific volume of suction vapor. So because of this, the net effect will be to decrease the COP. So lowering the suction pressure reduces the COP and performance of simple VCR cycle. The next is effect of delivery pressure, and here we have increased the delivery pressure, as it can be seen that here the refrigeration effect has been reduced, and here the compressor work has increased. So the net effect is reduction in refrigeration effect and the COP. Next is effect of evaporator temperature and condenser temperature, and we have seen that it is having the same effect as our previous two effects, that is decrease in COP. Next is effect of suction vapor superheat. So here refrigeration effect increases and compressor work also increases, and the net effect is to decrease the COP and capacity of refrigeration system. Next is liquid subcooling. So here with liquid subcooling the refrigeration effect increases, so COP also increases. Now our today's topic is actual vapor compression refrigeration cycle. So here we will see this one by one. First we will focus on compression process. The actual compression process is neither isentropic nor polytropic. This is due to the heat transfer that takes place between the cylinder wall and vapor refrigerant during the compression process. So here, during the first part of compression, the heat flow from the cylinder wall to vapor refrigerant due to the temperature difference between the and reversal heat flow during the last portion of the compression. So here, let's focus on this part, that if we consider simple isentropic compression here, let's for convenience again we will go into our ideal process on TS diagram. Okay, TS. So here at the beginning of compression, that is at this location, here the temperature of refrigerant is low in comparison with the temperature of environment. So here heat will flow into the refrigerant through this cylinder wall. Here temperature is low, so heat will be added from outside. And at location 2, where the temperature is higher, at location 2 temperature is high, so heat will be rejected to the environment through the same cylinder wall. So that's why it is written here that there will be a reversal heat flow during the last part of the compression. So that's why here there will be a slight deviation from the ideal compression process. When the cooled refrigerant passes through the suction valve prior to compressor, its temperature rises at constant pressure due to heat transfer from the cylinder wall to the refrigerant, and this is shown as 3 to 4. So let me show it over here. We are discussing about this point. So here the temperature rise which is happening at the beginning of compression is this, that is process 3 to 4, that is sensible heating, because the temperature of refrigerant is lower than the surrounding temperature. That's why heat will be absorbed by the refrigerant through the cylinder wall and at the suction valve, which is represented by process 3 to 4. Similarly, the same vapor refrigerant experiences the temperature drop after expansion after compression prior to delivery, represented by process 5 to 6. So now we are discussing about this point. This process which is happening after the compression. So here this is happening because the temperature of refrigerant is higher than the surrounding, and near to delivery the heat will be rejected to the surrounding. So we have discussed about point 3 to 4 and point 5 to 6. Now the next is some pressure difference is required to actuate the suction and discharge valves of the compressor. So this is necessary part, that some pressure difference is necessary. Also, some pressure difference is required to compensate for the pressure drop due to the frictional resistance in evaporator and condenser. So here the actual pressure inside the compressor is slightly below the evaporator, that is shown as process 223 that happens in the suction valve, and discharge pressure to be above the condenser, that is 6 to 7. So this is the necessary part for actuating the suction and discharge valves of the compressor. The next is in actual practice. So let me indicate which terms we have already explained. Point 2 to 3 is done, 3 to 4 is done, 5 to 6 is done, and 6 to 7 is done. In actual practice, subcooling after condensation of vapor refrigerant is preferred. So we are discussing about which part? We are discussing about this portion, process 9 to 10. Is preferred in order to increase the refrigeration effect and capacity of the system. As far as this point is concerned, we have already discussed subcooling, which is beneficial for improvement in the COP. So this is the process 9 to 10 represents the subcooling of liquid refrigerant before entering into expansion valve. Now fourth point, the vapor refrigerant which is leaving the evaporator is usually superheated to few degrees before entering into the compressor, and this is the superheating which we are discussing right now, point 1 to 2. And this superheating may be due to, first is automatic control of expansion valve, so that the refrigerant leaves the evaporator as superheated vapor. Second is picking up large amount of heat from the evaporator through the pipes located within the cooling space. Next is picking up the heats from the suction pipe, and these are the three sources of heat because of which the refrigerant may be superheated at the suction. And the superheating which was done here, similarly the superheated vapor is sensibly cooled from 7 to 8 before entering the condenser. That is this point. So this is the sensible cooling which is happening over here. Both theoretically and practically, the throttling process 10 to 11, that is over here, is an irreversible process. That is 10 to 11 will be irreversible adiabatic process where the entropy is increasing. And one more thing that I would like to add here is, apart from this pressure differences, the compression process ideally was essentially isentropic, but here it is irreversible adiabatic process. So we can observe entropy increase during process 4 to 5. Now our next topic is reversed heat engine cycle. So this is the figure of reversed heat engine cycle. Let's first focus on this. That previously what we were having is, if we need to draw our actual heat engine that we studied during second law of thermodynamics, then here from the high temperature reservoir, heat Q1 was provided to the heat engine and we were getting the work output, and some essential quantity of heat was rejected here, that is Q2. However, so this green portion is our previous standard heat engine cycle, and now we are having something which is a reversed heat cycle. So here the exactly reverse thing is happening, that we are extracting the heat from the low temperature reservoir, that is Q2. So this is the extraction which is happening of heat, and this the remaining heat is rejected to the high temperature reservoir, and this is not done spontaneously. So instead of getting work output, we need to provide work input for this purpose. So here work input is provided, and here as we can see, Q1 is equal to Q2 plus W, and in previous case W was equal to Q1 minus Q2. So here the formula may remain same, but now it is completely different or reversed cycle. So this is reversed heat engine. So the reversed heat engine is visualized as an engine operating in reversed way, that is receiving heat from low temperature region, that is T2, and discharging heat to high temperature region, that is over here at T1, and receiving the net inflow of work, that is this W which is being received. Under such conditions, the cycle is called heat pump cycle or refrigeration cycle. Now there is a difference between heat pump cycle and refrigeration cycle. Even though they both are same, there is a fundamental difference here. See what happens here, that let's discuss this portion over here, then I will be erasing this part. T1. So it is quite evident that I have drawn the same figure twice. However, the application of both the reverse cycles are different. First, let us discuss about winter. So let's discuss about winter, in which in winter what is happening, that the outside temperature is out. Okay, first we will discuss about summer here. That is over here. Where we need to keep the room temperature low. In summer, we need to keep the room temperature as low. So this will act as our room, and here we are extracting the heat here, and so this will be, here we are extracting the heat from the room and rejecting it into the environment, so that our room is kept cool. So here our desired effect is what? Desired effect is cooling of room. And in case of winter, where outside temperature is low and we need to keep our room hot, that is happening in the Western countries. So this will be our room, which we need to keep hot, and this will be our environment. So here, this is our environment here. So this entire, if we divide this two things, so here the left hand portion, where it is a winter condition in which our objective is to keep the room hot, that is happening in Western countries. We require to have room at higher temperature. So what we do, that from the low temperature environment we are extracting the heat forcefully by application of work input. We can take this heat into our room. So this will be known as heat pump. And here in this case, where in summer we need to keep our room at lower temperature, so we are extracting heat from our room and rejecting it into the environment which is at higher temperature. So this is known as a refrigerator. So the desired effect is different in these two cases. Here the desired effect is having Q1, and here desired effect is Q2. So now we will see this mathematically. You can pause this video and draw this figure, because I will be erasing this now. So in case of COP of heat pump, as it was drawn in previous figure, it was Q1 upon W. So Q1 divided by Q1 minus Q2. And in case of refrigerator, the desired effect is Q2 divided by W. So COP is defined in such cases is by this formula, that COP is equal to desired effect divided by work input. Okay, so in case of heat pump, the desired effect is Q1, and in case of refrigerator, the desired effect is Q2. Now our next theory is of reversed Carnot cycle. So this is the schematic diagram for Carnot cycle, reverse Carnot cycle, and the corresponding TS diagram. So in reverse Carnot cycle, the refrigerant is first compressed reversibly, that is happening from process 1 to process 2 over here. And so as it is compressed reversibly and adiabatically, in process 1 to 2 we are having this much of graph here. Then where here the work input per kg is WC, that is shown over here, WC. Then it is condensed reversibly in process 2 to 3, that is happening over here. It is going into condenser and it is condensed reversibly at constant temperature. Where heat rejection is Q1. Then the refrigerant expands reversibly and adiabatically in process 3 to 4, that is over here in the expansion part, which is also known as expander, where the work output is WE, and finally it absorbs heat Q2, reversibly by evaporation from the surroundings in process 4 to 1. Here Q1 is given by, that is if we discuss about this Q1, that is heat rejection, that is happening is T1 into H2 minus S3. Then the value of Q2, that is the heat which is absorbed, is happening at T2. So T2 is equal to S1 minus S4. So W net can be written in this way, WC minus WE. Now here this entire cycle is also having anti-clockwise nature. So here the net work will be input here. So WC minus WE is Q1 minus Q2. And finally we are getting this. Why it is in this way? Because if we calculate Q1 minus Q2 is equal to T1 into S2 minus S3 minus T2 S1 minus S4. So here if you see the difference between the entropies, S2 minus S3 is equal to S1 minus S4, because both are having the same length. So we can write down S1 minus S4 here. Here T1 is known as temperature of heat rejection and T2 is known as temperature of heat absorption. So COP here is given by this, that is Q2. Q2 is our desired effect, because this reverse Carnot cycle will be used for refrigeration. So this is our desired effect, Q2 upon W net. And once we write down this, it is, even though it is written directly, we can do it over here, that instead of Q2 we can put T2 S1 minus S4 divided by, instead of W net we can write down this formula that was obtained over here, S1 minus S4 into T1 minus T2. So here this will get eliminated and our final answer will be like this. T2 divided by T1 minus T2. So we have obtained the COP refrigerator, that is reversible. And similarly, let me erase this. Similarly, we can obtain the value of COP of heat pump, which is reversible. So this reversed Carnot cycle, this reverse Carnot cycle can work in both ways, that is as refrigerator as well as a heat pump. So in case if it is functioning as a heat pump, then Q1 will be our desired effect. So it is there on the numerator part and divided by W net. So final answer is this. Now our next theory is Bell-Coleman cycle. So here there is one more thing that we need to discuss here is the limitations of reversed Carnot cycle. So the limitations will remain very similar to our limitations of Carnot cycle, that here if you see compression as well as expansion both are happening in wet region, that is the refrigerant is in liquid plus vapor form, so it is difficult to compress as well as expand liquid inside this, and this will damage the mechanical parts of devices or mechanical parts of our compressor and expander. Apart from that, with isothermal heat addition and isothermal heat rejection will be quite difficult to achieve in practical life. So you can go through these limitations of reverse Carnot cycle, and you can consider this as a part of self-study, because this has already been discussed in our second law of thermodynamics chapter. Now we will move forward to our last topic of this chapter, that is Bell-Coleman cycle. So this is the arrangement for Bell-Coleman cycle or reversed Brayton cycle. So here, let's first understand the components and with PV and TS diagram. So here, let's begin with point number 1. Here, low pressure warm air is coming from the refrigerator, so it is being compressed from low pressure to high pressure, and because of this the temperature of air also increases. After getting compressed, it passes through this cooler where it is being cooled down with the help of cooling water, which is entering from here and leaving from here. After getting cooled, this will be high pressure cold air, and then it passes through this expander where it is being expanded, so it becomes low and very cold air. So after that, it is passing through this refrigerator where it becomes hot at the low pressure. So we will discuss the same. Here you can see that we are having 4 standard components for reversed Brayton cycle or Bell-Coleman cycle. And if you have noticed here, then the refrigerant which is used or working fluid in this cycle is air. Okay. So we have already studied Brayton cycle in our previous chapter, so this will be the reverse form of the same. So let's first go through process 1 to 2, that is from here to here. So it is shown as isentropic compression. So in compression process, pressure is increasing and volume is decreasing, and then here, as it is isentropic one, so its entropy will remain constant. So it can be seen over here. Then process 2 to 3, where it is constant pressure heat rejection. So here its volume will decrease because of heat rejection, and the same can be seen over here, that as it is heat rejection process, temperature will reduce as well as entropy will reduce. Next is process 3 to 4, that is in expander, where it is again isentropic expansion. So in expansion, pressure is reducing and volume is increasing. And here the entropy remains constant. And then the last is constant pressure heat absorption that is happening in this refrigerator. So here pressure remains constant and volume increases because the heat absorption is happening over here. So the same process is shown here from process 2 to 1. So now we will discuss in detail of Bell-Corbin cycle. It is a modification of Carnot cycle in which two isothermal processes of Carnot cycle are replaced by two constant pressure heat transfer processes, and this is also known as reversed Brayton cycle. Now first we will in detail discussion will be done on process 1 to 2, that is reversible isentropic compression in compressor, that is this portion, process 1 to 2. Here what I would suggest you is, here you should pause this video and draw all three diagrams in your notebooks. That will be helpful for understanding the processes in detail as well as for the derivation of COP. So first is here compression process. Air at low pressure coming from evaporator is compressed isentropically from state 1 to state 2. During this process, both the pressure and temperature increases. That can be seen here, that from process 1 to 2 pressure is increasing as well as temperature is also increasing. And because of compression, the specific volume of air reduces from V1 to V2. That can be seen here, that previously it was here at V1 and at the end it is at V2. The enthalpy and temperature of air increases during the process and no heat transfer takes place, and the entropy of air remains constant. That can be seen over here, that entropy here remains constant. So work supplied during the compression process is given by WC is equal to mCp T2 minus T1. That is quite evident from the figure also. The next is process 2 to 3, where reversible isobaric heat rejection is happening. So we will be discussing about point 2 to 3. Here hot and high pressure air from compressor is passed through the heat exchanger, where it is cooled at constant pressure. It rejects the heat sensibly to cooling medium, that was shown in the schematic diagram, to the cooling water, and then here the enthalpy and temperature of air drop during the process because it is a cooling process, and no work transfer takes place, and entropy of the gas decreases because reduction in temperature. So heat rejected is given by QR is equal to mCp T2 minus T3. Now the third process is process 3 to 4, which is reversible isentropic expansion in expander. So here high pressure air from the cooler, that is condenser, passes through the expander where it is expanded isentropically from high pressure to low pressure. So that is, we are discussing about this process. And here the temperature of gas drops during this process, that as it can be seen over here, and specific volume of air increases. So work produced is given by this formula mCp T3 minus T4. And our last process is reversible isobaric heat absorption, that is from process 4 to 1. Cold and low pressure air from expander flows through low temperature heat exchanger where it absorbs the heat sensibly and at constant pressure from the space to be cooled. So this will be the part of our refrigerator, and it provides here a useful refrigeration effect. The enthalpy and temperature of air rises during this process due to heat exchange, and no work transfer takes place, and the entropy of gas increases. So here it can be seen that entropy of gas also increases. So heat absorbed by the air from the space during the process is given by this formula mCp T1 minus T4. Now we will do the calculation of COP for this cycle. So let's focus here. So let's begin with Q net value. Q net is equal to QR minus QS, that is Q rejected minus Q supplied. So here we can say mCp T2 minus T3 minus mCp T1 minus T4, and this will be also equal to our W net. Now we will discuss about COP. So our desired effect is the cooling effect, or Q supplied divided by W net. So here it will be mCp T1 minus T4 divided by MCP T2 minus T3 minus minus MCP T1 minus T4. So finally what we are left with here, it can be written as T1 minus T4 divided by T2 minus T3 minus T1 minus T4. So here this is the value of COP. Now we will focus on process 1 to 2. Which is, if you see in this figure, process 1 to 2 is isentropic compression. So we can write down T2 by T1 is equal to P2 by P1 raised to gamma minus 1 over gamma. So here T2 value will be equal to T1 into Rp raised to gamma minus 1 over gamma. Similarly, we can discuss about process 3 to 4. Where it can be written in this way that T3 by T4 is equal to P3 by P4 raised to gamma minus 1 over gamma. So here we can write down that P3 is equal to P2 and P4 is equal to P1 raised to gamma minus 1 over gamma. From where I have written this, if you see the figure, then P2 is equal to P3 and P4 is equal to P1. So here T3 will be equal to T4 into Rp raised to gamma minus 1 over gamma. So we can put this here. So COP will be equal to T1 minus T4, as it is numerator is kept as it is, divided by, instead of T2 we can put this, that is T1 into Rp raised to gamma minus 1 over gamma minus T4 into Rp raised to gamma minus 1 over gamma into minus T1 minus T4. So here it will be equal to T1 minus T4 divided by Rp raised to gamma minus 1 over gamma into T1 minus T4 minus T1 minus T4. So the final answer after eliminating the temperature difference will be COP is equal to 1 divided by Rp raised to gamma minus 1 over gamma minus 1. So this will be the value of COP, which is function of pressure ratio only. Now we can copy this. So this is the way we have derived the COP for Bell-Colmack cycle. And this is the end of refrigeration cycles. In our next lecture, we will begin our new chapter, and that will be the last chapter of our online lecture series on engineering thermodynamics. Thank you for watching this video.